The bridge over the Niger, the sole road link between Nigeria and what until the beginning of this year was the rebel territory of Biafra. It was wrecked by the Biafrans to halt the federal advance, but has now been repaired. On the eastern bank, a reminder that Uli airstrip is not far away. At the eastern end of the bridge is the former Biafran town of Onitsha, taken by the federal troops in March 1968. Its position made it one of the most fought over and consequently one of the most heavily damaged towns in Nigeria. This was the massive and highly important Onitsha market, built at a cost of more than £500,000. Dr. Ezekwe, former Nigerian president, once supported Biafra but ended the war on the federal side. After 8 months of peace, Onitsha is still battered but is making steady progress and is on the way to recovering some of its former status as one of the Federation's most important trading centres. One of the main problems, of course, is food. When Biafra finally fell, it was divided into 3 separate states, with most of the Biafran heartland being incorporated into the East Central state. East Central now contains something like 8 million people, many of whom are impoverished and hungry. Relief workers, both from the federal government and from the international voluntary agencies, have made great efforts to distribute seeds, so that next year's harvest at least will be there to lay the foundations of a permanent solution to the food problem. There are no funds yet for a new covered market, but a few temporary structures are going up. The end of the war brought Igbos from all parts of Nigeria flocking back into East Central State. Many of them made for the former Biafran capital of Enugu. An official government survey has revealed that 3/4 of the city's buildings were destroyed or damaged in the 30-month civil war. When the war ended, it was a ghost town, but now its streets are busy and its houses are crammed with some 600,000 people, nearly twice its pre-war population. More people have meant more mouths to feed, but they've also meant more money in circulation, and this is reflected in the city's increased commercial activity. The government's refusal to recognize Biafran currency left many people literally penniless. Now it has relented and given just 20 Nigerian pounds to anyone handing in £20 or more in Biafran notes, but even this put less than £5 million into circulation. Although life is still a struggle for many people, the Igbo's traditional drive and initiative is evident everywhere. The energy and high spirits are not confined to the fit and well. Two and a half years of hostilities took an enormously heavy toll of dead and wounded on both sides. But with the battle won, federal troops tend the wounds of those they once fought. Ex-Biafrans who are further along the road to recovery get lessons in basket weaving. The patients have at least one piece of good fortune in that there's no shortage of food in military hospitals like this. Most of the victims of the war were not military but civilian, and they were killed not by bullets but by starvation. It's not known exactly how many civilians died, but many estimates put the figure as high as 2 million. According to some reports, as many as 50,000 people may have died of starvation since the war ended. The task of dealing with them and all other victims of the war has now been shouldered by the Lagos government, whose Rehabilitation Commission took over from the Nigerian Red Cross in July. This doesn't mean, of course, that the Red Cross has disappeared from the scene. In Enugu, for example, it uses the premises of the Cheshire Home to care for war orphans. Outside Enugu, it's reported, there are isolated country areas where starvation is as bad as it ever was during the war. But in this home, at least, these particular victims of the war have found all they need for the moment of food, medical attention and love. The young and the injured are not, of course, the only problems the Rehabilitation Commission has to face. There are, for example, vast numbers of unemployed. Many of them are Igbos who left well-paid jobs in other parts of the Federation. The situation's been made worse by the evident unwillingness of the neighbouring southeastern and rivers states to accept Igbos in responsible positions. Both areas were originally claimed by the Igbos as part of Biafran territory. The overall problems of reconstruction are enormous. After 8 months of peace, communications are still disrupted and both agriculture and industry are struggling to find their feet. Fortunately, the one thing the Igbos of East Central State don't lack is brains. The Igbos have always considered themselves better educated, if not more intelligent, than many of their fellow Nigerians. Whether true or not, the claim is now a useful spur to the Igbos to overcome the disruption caused by the war. Many school buildings were wrecked or severely damaged in federal air attacks, and classes are still being held in the open air. Most schools in East Central are run by the churches or other voluntary bodies who are now helping with relief payments to pupils in need. Under normal circumstances, however, schooling has to be paid for, and many parents would like to see the state's temporary control over the schools made permanent. On the whole, there's surprisingly little bitterness now that the war is over. In spite of their sufferings, most people are philosophical, even optimistic. Having fought and lost the struggle for national identity, the Igbos have no alternative but to face the future as Nigerians and to do the best they can to forget the past. Okay.
Asị ka ha bụ ha niile ma ume ahụ ma okezi ikpeazụ ma nne ya nwa odo okwu asị ka ọ bụ nke a ndị ji asị na-eri nri ịgbara ndị Fulani odibo nchi iwu osote onye isi n'obodo Naijiria ọ mgbe m nọ n'ụlọ ikoni ka m ga-etinye ha n'aka akwụkwọ si ha agaghị m emezi Biafra ọzọ unu bịa ka m gbara unu odibo ka ndị ọzọ si agbara ha odibo ha yọrọ m njụ nsị na aga m ahapụ nwere onwe ha n'azọ kwee n'ihi ndị ya niile maka ọdịmma nke ha nwa na nke ụmụ ha ma nke ụmụ ha ga-abịa n'ihi na agwara m ha okwu m sị ha oge mgbe Zik a na-agwa Zik mgbe ọ na-eji ike na-akọwara Zik si ya na ebe ị na-aga n'ụzọ adịghị ya ọ na-efe isi kpakakpaka mba ọwụọ Naijiria ka anyị gaa n'ihu lekwa ọnọdụ anyị n'ụbọchị nke taa na-akọwakwara ndị ya sị ha ihe a Zik mere mgbe mbụ tinye anyị na ụmị anyị nọ n'ime ya n'ụbọchị nke taa ọkwa ihe unu nwa na-eme kedu ụzọ nwana Nnamdi Kanu si na-eme ya na-emeju ya unu kọwara m ka m ghọta na m sị ma unu arụghị ogwe nke abụọ gafere River Niger na unu ga-arụ okporo ụzọ unu ga-emezi ebe niile ebe ụmụaka na-agụ akwụkwọ ọ ga-emezi emezi ọma mma ụlọ ọgwụ a ga-arụzi ya arụzi a ga-enwe ọkụ mmiri ga na-agba ọ ga-adịrị onye ihu na mma dịrị onye azụ na mma kedu ụzọ m si mejọ ndị dị etu a asị m na ụzọ m si na-eme ya na ọ dịghị mma njọ ha sị ya mbụ ngwa agha onwenye m gbara egbe onwenye m gburu mma onwenye m gbara ụta akwa sọsọ ozi ọma Chineke si m gbasa n'igwe okwu ka m na-agbasa kezie ka o si metụta unu ọ bụ gịnị mere unu nwa na-asị ka akpọta Nnamdi Kanu ka egbuo ya ọha na eze na ndị gọvanọ ọ gwara gịnị mere ndị herdsmen na-egbusi ndị mmadụ n'ugwu Awụsa ndị gọvanọ ha n'ugwu Awụsa kpọbe ka abịa gbusie ha ịnụ unugo na onwe onye na-achị ugwu Awụsa gọvanọ pụtasị ka egbusie ndị herdsmen. Unu anụnugo na onwe onye Yoruba pụtara sị ka egbusie ndị OPC. Ọgwụ na sọsọ ndị Igbo. N'ihi na unu na-agba leka kunu ga-agbara ndị Fulani odibo. Onye pụta sị ka agbara Fulani odibo. Onye nsị na mụ abụọ Nnamdi Kanu aga m agbara Fulani odibo. Ha nwere ha kwesịrị gbara mụ odibo. Ọ ihe na-esere mụ na ha gaa n'ugwu Awụsa. Ndị ha na-akpọrọ isi n'ala na-ajụ ha, o unu na ebe a Nnamdi Kanu ọ pụtakwa n'ụbọchị one unu ha bịa ọ na-akpagharị ebe niile ego na-enye ga-enyekwa ya ọzọ. Onye ahụ otiri mkpu bịa ọ gaa na BBC Igbo na-akọrọ ha aka m esokwa ya aka gị ọkwa ọgwụ ogonwa wee onye isi nche na steeti gị. Ị ga-agwa m na o nwee ka ndị agha obodo ekwensu bụ zuu Naijiria ga-esi malite na-akpa mkpamkpa n'obodo gị ịmaghị ihe gbasara ya? Ngwongwo niile esi be mburu akwa ebe ka Ezikpeazụ ka ebugara na gọọmenti atụ na Ezinna m ha na-ekiri na-amụ amụ ohe were ụmụnne ha na-eresi ndị Fulani chee na ndị Fulani ga-ahụ ha n'anya wee na-ajụ na-asị gị na-eme na ọha na eze n'ụbọchị nketa. Akwa ofu Jubril a ha na-agbara odibo ha na-achụrụ efi. Akwa ofu Jubril a bịara ugbu a bịa tisa ọha na eze tiwaa ya ụzọ abụọ. Ịhụnanya ya
o nwere otu ọ ga-abụ ma gị ma ha nwere ike bịakọta ọnụ ka akpa ihe ọfụma nwee nkwekọrịta otu a ga-esi gaa n'ihu?
Ihe na-eme na ndị be anyị wụ na ha na-aghọtachi anyị na-eme ọfụma. Ịjụ ọha ha sịra m chọrọ ikewapụ Biafra n'ime Naịjirịa na ọ nweghị ihe ziri ezi na iwu obodo ha akwadoghị ya. Nna ajụ ha sị ya ka ụzọ chọrọ isi ime ya. Asị na ọnwụ ka aga mee ntuli aka elu anyị bịanyecha aka atụcha vootu aga na ebe a na-eme iwu anọrọ akpa ya ekwekọrịta anyị gawa n'iru. Njụọ ha ndị na-eme iwu obodo Naijiria mmadụ ole si Kanu steeti pụta? 44. Ọ bụ mmadụ ole na-emekwe n'iwu a si Abia, Imo na Bayelsa pụta? Ha erughị sọsọ Kanu steeti. Ọ bụzi ụzọ dị anya ka ị ga-esi wee nweta ihe a ibu n'obi ebe ndị ọwa anyị na ha na-awụ nọchiri ewu agara agbachi ụzọ nọchi ebe niile efe adịghị ụzọ adịghị. Obere ihe unu kwesịrị ọrụ unu anaghị arụ ya. Nwatakịrị ihe wụ ogbe nkịtị ebe na-ebute mmanụ na-ebute ukoro ọkụ ike a na-ebupụ na-akpata ego bekee wee na-eri ndị ugwu Awụsa ji na-eleta onwe ha mma wụ na be anyị ka o si dị. Okporo ụzọ nkịtị na amarụ Ọnịcha ruo Enugu. Kezi ihe ọzọ ị na-akọwara m ọ bụ gịnị ka imepụta gboro ga-eme m ga-eji wee nwee ntụkwasị obi ebe ị nọ n'ihe ị na-ekwu na ị ga-emenwu ya na ọwa eziokwu. Ihe IPOB na maka nnukwu isi ka anyị na-enupụ isi. Akwụkwọ na-ekwu na ilu a na-atụ n'Igbo a sị mgbe ụfọdụ mgbe ụfọdụ na-enwekwana ka onye ara na-alụ nye nwaanyị. Ọkwara ihe anyị na-eme na mmegbu anyị na-emegbu anyị na ọ karịala na ihe a na-eme anyị na ọ dịghị mma. Ekunye agbagbu anyị ege ebe a akpọ ejide ebe anyị na-azụ ahịa laa ya n'iyi. Ha nwa na onwe ha enweghị ihe ha pụrụ ime. Ha niile na-agbara ndị Fulani odibo. Bịapụta nna gị okwu sị nna gị okwu ana m enupụ isi nsị ha mmụọ awụ Nnamdi Kanu na m agbara ha odibo uru hapụ m ka mụ na ha mee ya. Ha ajụ ọ ji na-eso onweghị ihe ọzọ. Ana m ekpere ha ekpere ka onye nwe anyị baa ha n'ime ka ha nweta ezi mmụọ nchegharị, ka ha ghọta na ha nwee ọrụ ha kwesịrị ịrụ n'ime ndụ ndị ha. Ịghọtakwa n'ọrụ a ma rụọ ya nke ọma wee ịghọta na eziokwu nọ n'ime ihe na-ekwu bụ eziokwu ka ọ bụ. Ha soro m kwuwe nke bụ eziokwu. Ha soro m kwuwe nke bụ eziokwu. Mmekọrịta anyị na ha na-anwụ nsogbu ọbụla adịghị. Kama ha nọ n'okwu asị na-agbara ndị Fulani odibo efe adịghị. Ha agaghị na mmekọrịta ọbụla ma ọlụ.
My name is Colonel Emmanuel-THE. I am 80 years old. I am too old to lie. I am not afraid to die. I'll tell you why we had to try. I am the last of the original coup planners of January 15th, 1966, with Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogu. He was my leader and mentor. It has been presented as if Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and Samuel Akintola were good, innocent leaders that a group of evil Igbo people just rose up and killed. That was far from the truth. They were committing atrocities. It was the genocide in Yoruba and Tiv lands that finally made us act to carry out house arrest of all leaders of the conservative, religious, and tribal government. If Nnamdi Azikiwe as the president and General Agu Ironsi as the general officer commanding the Nigerian army will not do it, we were determined to stop the carnage and arrest both of them too. Many of the coup planners were involved in the Tiv genocide and swore to stop the carnage. The government ordered repressions of Yorubas in western Nigeria. I was stationed in Abeokuta, and every day I witnessed the carnage as people ran into our barracks for protection. The Yoruba were being massacred to impose Akintola as a stooge of the North. Awolowo, their true leader, was locked away in prison. I was in charge and refused to join in the repression. I swore to put an end to the madness. We did not aim to kill anyone, but to arrest those leaders who were dividing and destroying the country. For religious and tribal reasons, we returned fire for fire to all those who fired on us. Our coup stopped the carnage in western Nigeria and the Middle Belt, but we could not stop the hell they were to unleash on eastern Nigeria. Herein lies the dark truth that Nzogu uncovered as the head of military intelligence. The nature of the agreement between the British and Sir Ahmadu Bello, and what they were willing to do to repress southern Nigeria and take over their assets. Ahmadu Bello kept the bargain. He imprisoned Awolowo, sidelined Zik, and began the repression of the Middle Belt and Yoruba land. The British took control of the oil. This is the dark truth that they will never want you to hear, that everything that happened stemmed from the megalomania of one religious fanatic to be like his ancestor Usman Dan Fodio. Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna, trapped in the past of imperial glories of jihad and empire, dreamed of himself as the new Mahdi, the Messiah, the commander of the faithful, and for that he was willing to waste thousands of lives. For that one man's perverse dream and the cunning of British diplomats who flattered his ego, Nigeria was scattered forever. In life, Ahmadu Bello caused the death of thousands. In death, he caused the death of millions.
The wind of jihad is blowing once again. Evil is being unleashed around the world. Radical Islamism is now the world's most dangerous ideology. Like fascist Nazism and totalitarian communism, it must be defeated. Radical Islamism gives Islam a bad name, and Muslims must join to stop it. Radical Islamism massacred 3 million of my people because we could not stop it. in 1966. The events of 1966 are happening again. That is why we have decided to warn the world. Those who are reluctant to call radical Islamism by its name should never lead the world again. We need world leaders who are determined to stop it. We put it all in the book. 1966, The Dark Truth. Check Amazon and other online publishers.
My name is Colonel Emmanuel-THE. I am 80 years old. I am too old to lie. I am not afraid to die. I'll tell you why we had to try. I am the last of the original coup planners of January 15th, 1966, with Major Jubril Kaduna Nzogu. Nzogu was first Nigerian head of military intelligence. He knew everything. He told me everything. If I came to your house and met armed robbers raping your daughter and family, and I draw a gun and stop them, will you thank me or blame me? That is what we did for the Yoruba and Middle Belt people. If the family of the armed robbers now go to my village and slaughter my people in revenge, will you blame me or blame the family for planning a new evil? That is what happened to us as the Igbo people. Nzogu knew of the deal between the British and the Caliphate. Ahmadu Bello had a plan. We knew the plan. He was filled with dreams of his ancestor, Usman Dan Fodio, to dip the Quran in the sea. His plan was simple: dominate the Middle Belt, dominate the Yoruba, then apply the final solution to the troublesome Igbos. When we stopped Bello, Balewa, and Akintola, we thought it was all over. But Aguiyi stopped us, and in that instance, sowed the seeds of his own death. We were put in Kirikiri prison. We tried our best to warn Ironsi. He did not understand. He believed too much in British Nigeria. Then the counter coup of 29 July 1966 began. It was the opposite of our nationalist revolution. It was the most tribalistic, religious, bloody coup ever in Nigeria. They killed Aguiyi. They killed all Igbo military officers they could find. Then began the Northern pogroms and slaughtered some 30,000 fleeing Igbos in 1 month. It was systematic. It was pre-planned. It was Ahmadu-Bello's master plan.
The wind of jihad is blowing once again. Evil is being unleashed around the world. Radical Islamism is now the world's most dangerous ideology. Like fascist Nazism and totalitarian communism, it must be defeated. Radical Islamism gives Islam a bad name, and Muslims must join to stop it. Radical Islamism massacred 3 million of my people because we could not stop it in 1966. The events of 1966 are happening again. That is why we have decided to warn the world. Those who are reluctant to call radical Islamism by its name should never lead the world again. We need world leaders who are determined to stop it. We put it all in the book. 1966, The Dark Truth. Check Amazon and other online publishers.
My name is Colonel Emmanuel Mwobosi. I am 80 years old. I am too old to lie. I am not afraid to die. So I will tell you why we had to try. I am the last of the original coup planners of January 15th, 1966, with Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogu. I was close to Juku. I served him in Biafra, and after Biafra, we discussed everything. If the British had ensured free and fair elections in northern Nigeria in the 1950s, there would have been no repression led by Ahmadu-Bello, the MPC and MS, who intimidated or even imprisoned NEPU candidates. Aminu-Kanu, leader of NEPU, a progressive who was loved by the Talakawa, the masses, could have become premier of northern Nigeria. If Aminu-Kanu was premier, there would have been no tea riots, no Yoruba repression, no Awolowo imprisonment, no Akintola sabotage, no jihad, no 1966 coups, no Igbo pogrom, no 3 million dead. Please understand that all this happened because Ahmadu-Bello became premier and wanted to continue the jihad of his ancestor Usman Dan Fodio. He had a master plan, which they still pursued even after his death. People think that we could have stopped the Biafra genocide, but nothing could have stopped it. Not the Aburi Conference, not Confederation, not secession. Whatever solution we brought, they will find a way to twist it and pretend it was our fault. They called our coup an Igbo coup to justify the attack. They wanted vengeance. They had killed most of us coup planners. They had killed hundreds of Igbo military officers to prevent us from fighting back. They had slaughtered over 30,000 innocent Igbos and Easterners in the north and other parts of Nigeria, but it was not enough. Ojukwu called all the chiefs and elders of the Eastern region, and we declared Biafra on 30th of May 1967 in the hope that they would leave us alone. At 5 a.m. on 6th July 1967, they fired the first shot at Gaken.
Okay, everybody on your feet, let's go!
We had no weapons. Britain armed the Nigerians fully. They captured the oil fields of Biafra, but it was not enough. They began a blockade of Biafra. They attacked by air, land, and sea, bombing civilians. By the time the war ended, over 3 million people were dead. They called it the Nigerian Civil War, but it was a genocide, worse than the Armenian genocide, and second only to the Jewish Holocaust, the worst mass murder of the 20th century. Why did they keep attacking till we were subdued? Because it was their master plan. It was the final solution to the Christian Igbos laid down by Ahmadu Bello. That was what Nzogu uncovered as the head of military intelligence. That was why they removed him, so he would not know. But it was already too late. That was why we struck to stop their crazy plan.
The wind of jihad is blowing once again. Evil is being unleashed around the world. Radical Islamism is now the world's most dangerous ideology. Like fascist Nazism and totalitarian communism, it must be defeated. Radical Islamism gives Islam a bad name, and Muslims must join to stop it. Radical Islamism massacred 3 million of my people because we could not stop it in 1966. The events of 1966 are happening again. That is why we have decided to warn the world. Those who are reluctant to call radical Islamism by its name should never lead the world again. We need world leaders who are determined to stop it. We put it all in the book. 1966, The Dark Truth. Check Amazon and other online publishers.
My name is Colonel Emmanuel Nwobosi. I am 80 years old. I am too old to lie. I am the last of the original coup planners of January 15th, 1966, with Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogu. I was close to Nzogu. I was close to Chukwu. I lived with them. I fought with them. I served them. Our people do not understand radical Islamism and jihad. There is a fundamental principle in jihad that war is deceit, leading to complex decoys and camouflage. They go to extreme lengths to cover their actions and deceive others. Similar things are being done today. President Buhari used Emefiele, governor of the central bank, to implement obnoxious economic policies of the CBN that benefited northern owners of Bureau de Change, but decimated the economy and foreign exchange. Tinubu, Amechi, and Okorocha were used to deceive their people. For instance, Yakubu Gowon and Obafemi Awolowo, two Christians, were presented as the Nigerian faces of the Biafra war. The Middle Belt people were used as proxies to prosecute the war. To the Middle Belt and the Yoruba, it was a war they were dragged into. Confused by propaganda and the appointment of Yakubu Gowon, a Christian from the Middle Belt, and Obafemi Awolowo, a Christian from Yoruba, to lead the war effort in one of the greatest subterfuges of history. Till today, we still blame the puppets we saw rather than the puppeteers, the British government and the Sokoto Caliphate. For the Yoruba and Tiv, we that saved them from genocide were turned into their greatest enemies. Instead of gratitude, they gave us bullets and bombs. They used Radio Nigeria, the only source of propaganda in those days when there was no social media, to turn our kindness to the Yorubas and the Tivs into hatred and called our revolution an Igbo coup. To us in Biafra, it was a war for survival. To the British, it was a war for oil. To the Sokoto Caliphate, it was a jihad.
The wind of jihad is blowing once again. Evil is being unleashed around the world. Radical Islamism is now the world's most dangerous ideology. Like fascist Nazism and totalitarian communism, it must be defeated. Radical Islamism gives Islam a bad name, and Muslims must join to stop it. Radical Islamism massacred 3 million of my people because we could not stop it in 1966. The events of 1966 are happening again. That is why we have decided to warn the world. Those who are reluctant to call radical Islamism by its name should never lead the world again. We need world leaders who are determined to stop it. We put it all in the book. 1966, The Dark Truth. Check Amazon and other online publishers.
and progressive Nigerians, I bring you a message of peace and goodwill and a call to action. It is truth and courage that can set us free from the bondages of war and propaganda. My name is Colonel Emmanuel. I am 80 years old. I am too old to lie. I am not afraid to die. I have told you why we had to try. The northern military boys that won the Biafra war took power and became the masters in the military oligarchy. Through genocide, bank robberies, mass rapes, coup and counter-coups, election rigging, corruption, stolen oil wells, they rose to unimaginable heights of extreme opulence and decadence in a land of extreme poverty. Today, they strut about in pride, but their crimes remain terrible. All the military heads of state, military governors who raped Biafra should be jailed or executed for their crimes, but they were rewarded as presidents and statesmen. That is why Nigeria is decadent, because they spread their depraved values across the nation. That is why I have now given my full support to Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, because they speak the truth that will dismantle Nigeria, which is an unworkable entity. They are not fighting against us, but fighting to raise the political and revolutionary consciousness of all Igbos. Biafrans, Southern Nigerians, and Middle Belters to free themselves from oppression and retrogression. Before IPOB brought me out of Nigeria, I thought they were riffraff on the streets of Nigeria. When I got to Britain, I came to understand that IPOB was run by top professionals who finance activities with their own money. They are in 88 countries of the world, working with the government and parliaments of those countries, putting the truth before them instead of the lies and crimes of the Nigerian government. They have a worldwide radio and television networks. Igbos and Biafrans should be proud of the discipline and achievements of these determined young men who will definitely succeed. They awed me beyond words. I am so proud. Even if you are not a Biafran or want to be part of Biafra, recognize that IPOB is a powerful organization at your service. Southerners, Mid-Belters, and Northern Christians make up and use IPOB as a powerful battering ram to break down Hausa Fulani stranglehold of Nigeria so we can all gain our freedom. Let us agree on how we share the oil and assets, and let us go our separate ways. As you all go into the Nigerian election, all I can see is a rigged outcome. This is again the past haunting the present because of radical Islamism. The Balewa government put Awolowo in prison and rigged Akintola to power in western Nigeria as a stooge of the north. Just like Afonja and Tinubu, today the Buhari cabal is slamming opponents into prison and rigging their stooges into power. In 1964, Ahmadu Bello's Northern People's Congress, NPC, government rigged the elections despite the massive coalition of progressive forces against them. The progressives formed the United People's Grand Alliance, APGA, comprising Awolowo's Action Group in Western Nigeria, Zig's NCNC in Eastern Nigeria, Kanu's NEPU in Northern Nigeria, Joseph Taka's UMBC in the Middle Belt. It was impossible for Ahmadu Bello's NPC and Akintola's NNDP to defeat the APGA alliance. Yet, NPC rigged themselves for power. At first, Nnamdi as the president refused to call Tafawa Balewa to form the government in 1964 because of the massive rigging. He was surrounded by the army and he capitulated. That was the first coup in Nigeria. They planned to remove him and demanded that the army swear allegiance to the prime minister. That was when we struck to stop the madness. Awolowo had performed very well as Premier of the West, and we wanted his socialist policies of free education and free health nationwide. He was also the actual leader of APGA, as Zik was now the president. We were determined to spring him from prison to rule the country as prime minister. General Ironsi, the head of the army, did not protect Zik or Awo and did not stop Prime Minister Balewa and Premier Bello of the North from using the army to terrorize the people. That was why we moved to arrest him, but he narrowly escaped and stopped our revolution in the South. That was why, as a group of patriotic young soldiers, we took action to stop the madness. Nigerians need courageous people to stand up and stop the rot going on today. This is why I admire Nnamdi Kanu. He has inspired me to stand up at my old age and take action by speaking the truth. Today, I call on the elders of our people, the Igbos, to support our young people as they seek to break away from a decadent Nigeria to create the Biafra of our dreams. An African Israel and a center that taps the ingenuity of the Igbo man to build a modern industrial nation, free from a corrupt, decadent Nigeria. Today, I call upon John Nnamdi and the leaders of Ohaneze. If you fought in Biafra and say you will not lead us into war again, then know that IPOB is not for war. IPOB is seeking a referendum for us to decide our future. I fought for Biafra. I was wounded for Biafra. I served Nzobo directly. I served Ojukwu directly. So you never suffered more, nor have more experience of war. Yet, I support our young people to fight for their liberation from an unworkable Nigeria, in which Igbos shall always face religious massacre and marginalization. John Nnamdi, Ikukehe, if you were truly a soldier, stand up and say enough is enough. Fear of war is no excuse. Today, I call on Southern Nigeria, especially Yoruba and the Middle Belt, people whom we tried all those years ago to save from the genocide of the Bello and Balewa government. I call upon you to stand up and recognize us for what we did to stop genocide in your region in 1966. Stand up and demand your freedom. It is important you all realize that you are facing a stark reality, as we faced with the Bello and Balewa government. You are facing a Nigerian government committed to Islamization by jihad. General Danjuma, who made the great mistake of killing General Ironsi, has finally woken up to acknowledge who is the real enemy. He has called for the entire South to pick up arms to defend itself. You can all be assured that a radical Islamic government will not allow you to vote them out. If you try, they would use force. Like Haman in Palestine, once they took over power democratically, they ruthlessly scrapped democracy with force of arms. Christians, Southern Nigerians, and Middle Belters, you have three choices. 1. Join IPOB in civil disobedience, beginning with a massive boycott of the elections, but do not stop there. Paralyze the entire nation. If you are hungry, go home to your villages. Let nothing happen until you force negotiation for referendum and independence, and we share the oil revenues. If they fire at you, let your young men fire back. Let the fear stop. Such a massive civil disobedience will make the world sit up and take interest. I call on Afenifere, Ohaneze, and the Middle Belt unions to act together. 2. Vote in the election, get rigged out, and pick up arms to fight for your freedom. 3. Submit to this Islamization agenda and accept you are in an Islamic state permanently. I fought for Biafra and I'll fight again, if not in the war front, then in the war planning cabinet. You should all stop being afraid of their military threats and show of force. Last time, they had the help of Britain and Russia, but now, not even Britain will dare to support another genocide. Russia, America, China, and Israel all want to stop their radical Islamism without liberal apologies. Stand up and fight. If you do not fight back, it will get worse till you completely submit. Radical Islamism never stops until you are subdued and feel yourself subdued and conquered. It is commanded in their holy book. I greet you all. May Chukwu Okike Abema, the Father in heaven, bless you all. He said.
As you can see, this is the BBC Broadcasting House here in Oxford Circus. I'm right here. My name is Chigozie. People don't believe me when I tell them some of our brothers They argue when I say to them, this is BBC. You can see here the landmarks here. All the countries in the world, they are written on the, they have an inscription on the soil here, on the BBC ground here. These are names of countries in the world. These are names of countries. Just that they have some kind of an event here, so that's why I see all these balloons and everything. Once more, let me show you. This is BBC Broadcasting House, where you watch BBC on the TV, on the mainstream media. This is the BBC you know about, that have been existing for decades. BBC Broadcasting here in Oxford Circus, London. Now, what really gave me the greatest shock of my life is when I saw, among all the countries written here, I can see Abefran, Coris, Volga, Bola, and bringing it down. This is what gave me the greatest shock of my life when I saw this Biafra. Everybody should see it. This is Biafra on the soil of BBC. Boldly inscripted Biafra. Biafra. Who on earth would believe this? That there's a monument here representing the state of Biafra. Can you imagine? This is not a make-up video. You can see. Let me film it from here live. See, that's BBC. That's BBC. Inscription. That's the BBC. Right up there. Right up there. Go. That's it. That's it. BBC. Let me reduce the zooming. Can you see for yourself? This is a very busy place. Can you see that? And I bring it back. You see? Watch live. And I zoom it again. You see the Biafra. So those who say Biafra is not a nation, it's not a country, Biafra is recognized. It has its own monuments. It's boldly inscripted as Biafra, as a country that exists. Those who are doubting, all the Thomas. Let me reduce the zooming. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the other countries around it. Look at the other monuments. Look at the other inscriptions. Can you see that? See? Among them you have Biafra. Let me zoom it again one more time. This is it. Biafra. Boldly written. Boldly written. Biafra. So nobody should ever say that Biafra is not a nation, is not a country. History has a lot to teach us. So history always repeats itself. When we go back to history, then we know where we are going to. Those who don't know where they are coming from will never know where they are heading to. So this is Biafra here. So it is an established nation. It is an established country. It is an established people. Please, now I so much believe in Biafra that it's a nation. So all the political gambles and the political games and correctness that have been going on regarding this innocent nation called Biafra, now I understand what is going on. Let me shift it a little one more time. Look at other countries near the monument or the inscription. Can you see that? Uhola. Can you see that? Bam. Bamyan. And one more time coming back to where Biafra is written. So my people of Biafra, rejoice, our redemption draw nigh. Thank you very much. Here come Biafra. Bye.
Yes. Yes. Come on, deal with that. They'll keep lying. You should run in the now when there was a wonderful and young people, won't even move about, yes, sir. Song is published by Neighbor Man, is that correct? Yes, sir. Is that correct? Yes, sir. They are doing more damaging work than I was after me. Through misinformation and lying. Are the ones who are breaking the law, not me. You can see the lies they are publishing. about me and IPOB. Me and Buhari, who should be afraid of each other? Me and the Zoo police, who should be afraid of each other? Me and the Zoo army, who should be afraid of each other? How dare somebody publish that I'm in hiding? Who is that idiot? Come on, I can go put your hand. What's in again? This is publication from some newspaper, an Igbo man's paper, writing nonsense. What is the headline? That Biafra leader on the run. From some newspaper. That is Zoo journalism for you. That is why we have our own radio Biafra. Yes. That is why we have our own satellite television. That is why we have Biafra television. Because of lies and deception. I can stand and prove who I am, but Buhari cannot do the same thing. Yes. Because the man you're looking at on the television is not Buhari. Don't you know that? Yes. His name is Jubril, he's from Sudan. After extensive plastic surgery, they brought him back. Taught him Buhari's mannerisms. And he came and deceived all of you. You cannot deceive Nnamdi, and you cannot deceive IPOB. You are unshakable. It wasn't my wish to speak. But the more I keep quiet, the more they keep lying. Against me. That is why I must speak. Yes. Why? I must defend IPOB. I am under oath to defend IPOB, and I will do it. And we are with you, sir. We are with you. We are with you. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. It's no surrender. We can never ever surrender. Yes. Don't mind the lies they are feeding you. Bunch of lies. If I have something to say, I will say it live. Yes. As is happening now. People want to sell their newspapers, they fabricate nonsense. I have spoken to one of some newspaper journalists this morning. I have told them that some of you Igbo people are the delay that Biafra is experiencing. If it's Hausa Fulani, I can fight them to stand still. Some of you Igbo men and journalists are the problems we are having. Look at what a newspaper editor published for public consumption. They were writing about Benjamin Nnamdi. Is he the Biafran leader? No. The editor of the newspaper is a Yoruba man, wicked editor of the Sun newspaper. And some of you wonder why you don't have good roads, why you don't have good schools, why you don't have employment, why things are terrible. Because the people that you expect to guide and to mold opinions of the people, they are criminals. They are liars and vagabonds. Yes. Yesterday they wrote another rubbish. I was told by a Punch newspaper That they said there's something police everywhere in case I want to escape. Do you see how stupid people are? Do you see how useless people actually are? Do you see why I castigate black African people? Do you now understand it?
Yes.
Because they are stupid. Very useless. I wasn't afraid of Buhari inside his small court. Bambalo can kill him in prison. It's now that I'm in my father's compound. That's how we fight.
Fools.
Don't be afraid of anybody. We are dear friends. People should be afraid of us. Yes. We are IPOB. People should be afraid of us. Yes. Because after this encounter, the zoo can never be the same again. They think we are joking. That is the worst mistake Buhari ever made was to arrest him. Yes. The worst mistake ever. I will break the zoo into pieces. What is going to happen? I am taking IPOB to Abuja on the 17th of next month in our court case.
We are with you, sir. We are with you.
There will be 2 million people in Abuja.
Yes.
I will be there. I will be there. I will be there with you, sir. I will be there. Hey, we take the battle to our enemies.
Yes, sir.
And let me make this very clear to you. You are under oath.
Yes.
And by virtue of that oath, you are under direct order from me.
Yes.
Any day you wake up, you hear I've been arrested.